Jessica, and this is Daebak K-Rambles, where a couple of friends review Korean dramas. And I'm back for another really emotional episode. I'm sure this is going to be really emotional for both of us. I am joined by Paroma from Dramas Over Flowers podcast. How are you?
I'm good. Hello, everyone. It's an honor to be invited. Hi, Jess.
Yes. I'm so happy for you to be here. I do want to apologize up front because we're going to be reviewing Youth of May, and I just want to apologize. I'm so sorry that I made you watch this show in its entirety. And I'm just sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, it was on my bucket list, kind of. You just gave me the actual reason. Gave me the push I needed to finally get watching.
Got you. So for those who haven't listened to Dramas Over Flowers for some odd reason, I'm just going to ask you, how did you get into K-dramas? What's your origin story?
My origin story was that I was tricked by my co-host. She told me, so we both bonded over fantasy books. So stuff with dragons and wizards and stuff. At one point, we were both hooked on that Colin Morgan wizardy show, Merlin.
Right.
We were big fangirls. She got me signed photographs and stuff from conferences. That was our friendship. And then at one point, more than 10 years ago now, she was like, I think you're gonna like this, drama. It's a Korean drama. Watch it. And in my head, anything Korean was very much film centered. I had no idea what Korean dramas were. I just thought, I don't know, Asian movies, really complicated movies that come out during award seasons or something. You only hear about them at these artsy film viewing places.
Right.
I had a very annoying cousin who was really into East Asian movies, and she was the artsiest person I knew. So I just had a bad association. I like the cousin, your faves, but still. Okay, so she was trying to get me to watch Coffee Prince, but what I ended up watching first was You're Beautiful. And it was nothing like what I was expecting. It was mad different, and I was hooked. I think I stumbled a little on the first episode because I was so used to Western depiction of women that Gominam, or rather Gominyu, being played by Park. Whoa, my God, Park Shin-hye.
Yeah, Park Shin-hye. Yeah.
I can't believe I forgot his name for a second. Played by Park Shin-hye was really different. She was so gentle, and she was kind of like a bunny rabbit. And I was like, wait, do I really want to watch something that shows a full-grown woman like this? And then I actually started watching the rest of the drama, and it broke a lot of my preconceived notions.
Yeah.
And really broke them, just smashed them to smithereens. And I was grateful because it finally opened up a space for me to watch stories that were, because I was desperately waiting for, Indian movies to just make content that appealed to me more. Western television, Western movies to make content that worked for me more, but I couldn't find them. I did find stuff that I liked in books, but you finish books really fast, and your favorite authors don't write, new installations often enough, so you're starved. But K-Drama Land was not only giving me a new type of storytelling, they were so prolific. They were coming out with 18 dramas every quarter. At that point, now it's 18 dramas every week. But it was like a smorgasbord, and I was just kind of handed a fork. So thank you, Saya. She totally made me expect that I was expecting something more fantasy related. Or I don't know why she told me, how she knew that this would work for me. But I think eventually in our more recent conversations, we kind of figured out that we have found in our experience that the most diehard Korean drama fans also tend to be people who really love literature. And that could be genre-specific literature. It could be just smutty literature. It could be bromance. It could be thriller. It could be space opera, anything. But they really like storytelling. And
wow.
That's my story.
That's like a wow. I love your story. Thank you for sharing. And the whole thing about the people that love K-dramas tend to like literature. You're talking to a reformed English major, and I for most of my career I was in publishing. So there's that. Funny you should mention You're Beautiful and Coffee Prince, because we're covering both this season of the podcast, because we keep going back in time to do pre-2015 K-dramas, because I don't know if you've seen this sentiment online. Those are really good ones. But the sentiment I've seen online is that people don't want to watch older K-dramas. I can't watch anything that's pre-2015. Like, it's just paper. And I'm like, okay. So
who are these people?
I don't want to name any names, but even though I don't have any names, but I'm here to say, just to advocate for these older K-dramas. And I'd love to revisit some of these ones, like You're Beautiful and Coffee Prince. So keep an eye on the feed, because we're going to go back in time again. The first few K-dramas that we did this season were pre-2015, but not as far back as Coffee Prince. So we're going to keep going. But this one that we're going to review today, Youth of May, is not pre-2015. It is closer in time to the present day release. Even though it is kind of retro because of, when it takes place and stuff. So thank you, Paroma. I am so excited for you to be here. And we're going to do some housekeeping really fast. If this is your first time listening, thank you so much for pressing play. Go ahead and subscribe on your favorite podcast app. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and many more. And if you like us, please give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Come and check us out on social media to stay up to date on everything that we're doing, our latest episodes and reviews. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Daebak Pod. And lastly, if you're a fan, the best way to support the show is to become a patron. It's a great way for you to get involved and show your support. You can check out the page on patreon.com/alwayscriticpod. And thank you to our patrons, Janet, Curtis, Bale, Cindy, CD, Grace, Alana, Lorna, and Ib. You guys are wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. And without further ado, we're going to get into the non-spoiler section of Youth of May. So I'll read the Asian Wiki synopsis, and it goes like this. In May 1980, during the turbulent times of the Gwangju Uprising, Hee-tae and Myung-hee fall in love. Their love seems destined by fate. Hee-tae is a medical student who entered medical school at the top of his class. He seems like an easygoing person, but he also has an unyielding spirit and obstinacy. Myung-hee has worked as a nurse for the past 3 years. She is a lovely person who stands up against what is not fair. So this show aired originally from May to June 2021. Of course, it aired in May. It is 12 episodes long, not that long at all. And it is directed by Song Min-yup. He's directed Dr. Prisoner from 2019. My drama list also lists Lee Dae-kyung as a director. I have no idea if that's accurate, but I figured I'd just mention it here. Youth of May was written by Lee Kang, and they also wrote Spy from 2015. So I do want to point out that these people, like the directors, potential directors, multiple, and the writers are kind of largely untested. They don't have a lot to their filmographies. And Lee Kang, like the Spy thing from 2015, obviously it's about a spy from North Korea. So I think this is kind of in their wheelhouse, if you think about it that way. But yeah, not a lot to go off of in terms of what they did before Youth of May. But let's talk about this cast, though. So we have Lee Do-Hyun. He plays Hee-tae. And he's had a wonderful year because he has starred in The Glory from Netflix. So we've seen him consistently from 2022 to 2023 in that show. He's been in Melancholia, Sweet Home, 18 Again, Hotel de Luna, Clean with Passion for Now, and Still 17. This is basically my introduction to Lee Do-hyun. I don't know I had not seen him in anything else. I had totally bypassed all of these K-dramas.
What?
Yeah. So, well, I hate to say I bypassed them, but I saw him in The Glory when part 1 aired. So at the end of 2022, I saw him. And then which I was like, okay, we have to see more with Lee Do-Hyun in it because he's amazing in The Glory. And then I started watching this show almost concurrently to The Glory Part 2, like very close to when Part 2 aired. And that's basically all that I had seen him in. I hadn't seen Still 17. I hadn't seen him in Hotel de Luna, even though I dropped Hotel de Luna. And hadn't seen Sweet Home yet. So yeah, I like basically never had seen Lee Do-Hyun until this year.
A slight correction there. So Still 17 was the American one. The adaptation was 18 again.
I'm so sorry. 18 again.
Watch
Which
him.
is you're like,
watch that, please.
Correct. Still 17 is the one. What is his name from High School Musical?
No, I know. I love him so much. Or at least at that point I did. It has Chandler in it. He's the grown-up version. Oh my God.
Chandler.
What is the younger one's name? Zach? No.
Zac Efron. Yes,
Zac
you got
Efron.
it.
That's right.
Yeah.
He was so cute.
So they adapted the Still 17 movie into a K-drama. And so Lee Do-Hyun stars in that. Back in 2018, he did that.
Yeah.
So you had seen him in that show.
Yeah, I think I first saw him in 30/17. And then weirdly, I ended up watching every one of his dramas. I wasn't looking for him, but I was just watching everything that he was in. I was watching Sweet Home. I was watching, what was that drama that he did? Hotel de Luna, where initially, because I had seen him as this supporting role's best friend, kind of like a really minor character in 30/17. So very easy to sort of pass over. And he was a young boy in that one. And so right after that, I think I saw him in Hotel de Luna, where he was the past love of the main protagonist. And he was in his proper warrior garb and stuff with like the headband, looking very dapper. But it's, I did not recognize him at first. It's like he had a sudden growth spurt or something. But he didn't. I mean, I think it was just like a year apart. But just this guy, he chooses his projects well. He tends to really focus on the emotional core of his characters. Like he wants characters where he can cry and laugh and like properly emote. He does not go for like straightforward chaeboli character. Honestly, his character in The Glory is like the most conventional character he's chosen as yet. Like he's basically your chaebol savior of the heroine, which is, but
say less.
Come on.
Say less.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, I loved watching him grow as an actor. I loved seeing him in these projects where I just wasn't expecting him and he would just crop up. And then I started looking out for his projects. And I think the first thing that I watched for him was Melancholia, which turned out to not exactly be what I was expecting. But the cast was so good. I actually ended up watching the entire drama. I for anybody who's watched Melancholia and probably knows why I have reservations, listen, we can talk. And I will agree with all your points. It's just that I really like Lee Do-Hyun, and I really like the actress. He was cast opposite. She was the one from Search WWW, and oh my God, I can't. Im Soo-jung. So I kind of had to watch it for them. I couldn't escape it. But yeah, all of that to say is that I've had Youth of Me on my list for a while. And so when Jess was like, do you want to record an episode on this drama? I was like, oh, okay, so maybe it's time. I actually broke my heart.
Yeah, and that's putting it lightly. Is that, oh yeah, it just broke my heart casually.
It's like Lee Do-Hyun says, right? Like when you're, it's like he said to his lady, I'm ready to have my heart broken. Like I'm ready to be in pain. Cause it's, yeah.
Okay. Well, talking about his lady, his leading lady is Go Min-si, and she plays Myung-hee. I had seen her in a lot, actually. So she was in My Sassy Girl from 2017. She's been in Welcome to Waikiki from 2018. The Smile Has Left Your Eyes, both Love Alarm seasons, Sweet Home, and most recently in Jiri-san in 2021. I really enjoyed seeing her in The Witch, Part 1, The Subversion, which is a movie from 2018. So yeah, had you seen Gomensi?
That's the only one I remember her in. Everything
really?
else, she's been in every. I have watched all of these dramas that you just mentioned. I don't remember her at all. I remember her in The Witch, and this is a phenomenal actor.
Yes,
I can't believe that the Youth of Me came out in 2021, right? I can't believe she hasn't been at least in 30 other projects since then.
I agree. I agree with that. Like, what happened in the last year and a half or so? Why haven't I seen her in more?
And in bigger projects. Honestly,
Yeah.
I think in Jiri-san, she was in a relatively minor role, I think. Okay, honestly, didn't watch enough of Jiri-san to remember. But, but I mean, I'm glad Sweet Home is coming up, but there's nothing else. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I
looking
agree.
forward to seeing her.
Yeah. She was also the shaman in Decision to Leave from 2022, which is a Park Chan-wook movie, which I have not seen yet.
Me neither.
You're like, ooh. All right. So I have also some supporting cast members, but I'll just mention them briefly. So we have Lee Sang-yi. He plays Su-chan, effectively the second male lead. And of course, he had a really great year with Hometown Cha-Cha-Cha. And he's been in Yumi Cells, Crash Course in Romance, When the Camellia Blooms, Suits. So he's been in a lot of supporting roles throughout the years. We also have Kum Se-rok as Suryeon, she plays Sang-yi's sister in the show. And she has been in quite a few movies, and you might have seen her in The Age of Shadows, The Last Princess, Love Lies, Assassination, The Silence. These are all really poignant movies. So I highly suggest watching any one of these. I actually covered Love Lies on the Patreon feed. So she plays an adult Giseng, and Assassination, Cut Me Up. That's another one where she plays bit parts in some of these movies, but the movies themselves are amazing. So I can only deduce that she picks really great projects.
I think she does.
I don't know.
Have you seen her in The Interest of Love this year?
I have not seen The Interest of Love yet. I've been too busy, but I heard terrible things about the show.
No, give it a chance. Listen, if you can sit through Youth of May, actually,
Oh
I
my
shouldn't
God.
compare.
Don't say that. Oh,
No. That's completely unfair. That's not true. Youth of May doesn't stab you constantly throughout its runtime, whereas Interest of Love kind of does. And it's one of those dramas that you watch. I was about to say because you enjoy pain, and that sounded wrong. No.
the masochist.
Because you are okay with feeling those the pangs that the drama gives you. It's
Gotcha.
On the one hand, it's really interesting writing. On the other hand, by the second half, you're really confused about why the writing is like this. However, when it comes to this actress, Gom Se-rok was, I think, the standout performer. All the actors cast was so good, but Gom Se-rok, she turned what could have been a very conventional, petty, jealous, second lead-ish character. I mean, the writing was good. They handed her really great material, and she turned out phenomenal. I have so much respect for her, the way she portrayed the character, and also just basically I have a lot of goodwill towards her right now, coming off The Interest of Love. Yeah, I think this is my season to watch dramas that just stab you. In the last 2 months, I've watched way too many of these dramas.
Oh my God. And then Youth of May on top of it. Okay.
Yeah.
So the last 3 names I'll shout out is Hyo-sop, who plays what's her name? Gum Se-rok's dad in the show. He's an ajashi, and you've seen him in so many other projects.
Yeah.
I can't even sit here and name them. There's so many. You have Kim Won-hae, who plays Myung-hee's dad. So Gomin-si's dad. Also another ajashi who you've seen a million times. He's amazing. And then I'll shout out Oh Man-suk as Hwang Ki-nam, and he plays Hee-tae's dad. Effectively the villain. Yes. So I think we've come to the end of who the cast is and the director and the writer. So, Paroma, like, what did you think of Youth of May?
I don't know. It defies description. I listen. It's for the main leads alone. I would probably watch this drama again. Knowing exactly where each beat falls, knowing exactly where my heart breaks and where it soars, I would watch it again. The performance was truly something remarkable. But also, let me just get this out there. Being an international viewer, I'm always fascinated when an entire show has characters speaking in full regional accent.
Oh,
and
yeah. Satori.
The Satori here the Gwangju Satori was mad. Like, I have no idea how accurate it was. What I do know is that it really helped with the emotional delivery of certain lines. Like, they pulled more because it was spoken in Satori. And I love listening to the dialogue. It was like more musical to me, more emotional to me. So yeah, what did I think of it? I could not tell you. I definitely enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. I was not, because I was prepared for certain things, I think I enjoyed it more. I really genuinely don't think, we will keep this for the spoiler part.
Okay, no problem. No problem. If it's too spoilery, don't say it yet. So you kind of mixed feelings about the show because it was so heightened.
No, strong positive feelings. I
Gotcha.
admired everything about it. I can't really nitpick about a drama like this.
Yeah.
The only thing that I would say definitively is that I would recommend this drama to very few people, and only if they have shown that they are in the sort of mental space to watch a certain kind of drama. So this is not a drama that I would go around like pushing people into a cave and locking them there to watch.
Yeah, this isn't a one-size-fits-all show. I think you do need to have a strong foundation in K-dramas and have watched maybe some of the other sort of period pieces in K-drama, right? I'm not talking necessarily about the saguks and the ones that happen in the Chosun dynasty and stuff like that. I really do feel like if you've watched some things that are in the 90s, like, I don't know, what's 2521 is in set in the 90s.
Yeah.
So if you've seen stuff in that era, I think you might be okay to start some of these that are set in the 80s, which are way more politically charged and way more high stakes and have a lot more that you might need to look up or understand to grasp the full like importance and nature of what these characters are going through. So I agree completely. I would never like sit here and be like, you gotta watch Youth of May and you just watched, I don't know, Crash Landing on You yesterday. So no, that's not, I don't think you could handle it. So for me, I walked into this knowing that it was a sad story. Okay, that was like the full extent that I knew about the show, was that it had a sad story and these two had a romance going. So I was like, okay, great. Then I get into it's in 1980. First of all, it's like right in 1980, and I go, this is not looking good. This is not looking good at all. I was like, so I thought it was like late 80s, like maybe 88, 89. No, it is like 1980. So I go, oh shit, this is not going to end well. Then I kind of felt like this was, how do I put it? Like each episode was sort of gaining a lot of momentum and having a lot of juice and sort of leaning into some sort of disaster that's going to happen later in the show. I don't think it takes like a rocket scientist to kind of understand like the workings of the writing and how they structured each episode and how they're focusing a lot on the date and, oh, this person can only come, get transferred to the hospital on this date. And I'm like, it seems like dates are really important. So then I think around episode 6 or 7, I was like, I know exactly what's going to happen. Like, it just hit me from, all these years of watching K-dramas and knowing about certain historical things like the Gwangju uprising / massacre. I was like, oh, shit, this is going to culminate in this Gwangju uprising happening in the middle of everything. And it's going to be a train wreck. And so I said to myself, I did this TikTok around episode. I was just about to watch episode 9. And I kind of said, this feels like watching the Titanic for the first time. This feels like watching Jack and Rose board the Titanic. And you're like, I freaking love this love story, but I'm waiting for them to hit the iceberg.
Oh,
right?
Man,
this is what it felt like to watch this show, like to a T. And I would not recommend, like, Titanic is one of those like global, like everybody knows what happened. And it felt like very similar, like, they're focusing on the date a lot in the Titanic and they're focusing on the date a lot in Youth of May. And you're just devastated by the end of the show. And I loved the show, but I don't know if I would ever watch it again. I might do the same thing as I do watching the Titanic, which is I'll watch the first hour and a half, right? And then as soon as they hit the iceberg, I'm like, okay, I'm out. Like I can't watch anymore because who wants to go through that heartbreak and devastation all over again? So for my mental health, this is a form of self-care. If I ever watch Youth of May again, I'll probably stop watching around episode 8 or 9 because anything more is just torture. It's so sad. And this is not to spoil anything about what happens in the end. We will talk about that in the spoiler section, but I just found that this show was, how do I put it? Severely tragic. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
So yeah, I loved it, but it was painful, extremely painful. Like you said, the cast was amazing. I thought the acting was fantastic. I thought the writing was unassailable. I thought they did very well pacing this and building them up and tearing them down. And the villain was a proper villain. And the circumstances are, that's the conceit of the show, right? Is that they're star-crossed lovers and they have no idea. You're literally watching like a Romeo and Juliet thing play out. You're like, I don't know how to help. There's no way to help them. Like, you can't undo what's happened. And I actually thought, going into the final few episodes, that maybe they would do like a revisionist take on the Gwangju massacre. Like, have you seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? That movie?
I have, but the one I was thinking of was Moonlight Drawn by Cloud.
Oh,
what is that called?
Yes.
Love in the Moonlight?
Love in the Moonlight. But that's an alternate title. Yeah, Moonlight Drawn.
I always forget what the exact longer title is. Moonlight Drawn by Cloud? Something like that.
Yeah.
Right? That they did a revision over there.
Yeah.
And I think they had to because the final third of the drama had like really started lagging and people were like coming out with pitchforks like, after this, if you give us a sad ending.
Yeah, so I thought maybe they'll do a revisionist take on this terrible atrocity that happened in May 1980. And no. They did not do that. Yeah. So, oh God, I don't know what else to say. Like, I don't think we can. Well, let's talk about the Gwangju uprising and maybe some comps if you don't want to dive into Youth of May right now. Like, maybe some of these other ones might be okay. for you to like kind of dip your feet into this era of Korean history. But so the Gwangju Uprising happened between May 18th and May 27th, 1980. The uprising was one of the largest uprisings in the country as students rebelled against the authoritarian government, because at the time it was a military dictatorship. Nearly 250,000 people participated in the rebellion, and although it was brutally repressed and initially unsuccessful in bringing about democratic reform in South Korea, it's considered to be a huge pivotal moment in the South Korean struggle for democracy. This is really annoying to me, but I'll say this, these numbers, is that officially over 100 people were killed. However, it's estimated from Gwangju citizens that the death toll is over several thousand. So the government's numbers are about like a little over 100 people died. And in reality, it's probably thousands of people were murdered. You mentioned this before we started the podcast, but yes, the U.S. government had a hand in the Gwangju Uprising because at the time there was a strong military presence from the U.S. in Korea. There still is, because it was not too far removed from the Korean War. And so the government, the corrupt authoritarian government, did get permission from the U.S. to do this uprising, to quell the uprising in Gwangju with federal soldiers, basically, not like local police or anything. And the U.S. said, yeah, sure, do what you have to do. So there is that.
To be perfectly fair, they were federally funded soldiers. They weren't like American soldiers. So
yes,
they were local soldiers, but like federally funded.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other interesting thing that I found out a while back was that the US always claimed that the information they were getting from the South Korean government at the time was basically misinformation. They had like basically mischaracterized the uprising. They were saying
I have no doubt.
They were saying that it's spreading everywhere. They're going to destabilize the government. And around that time, they have the US was involved in well, I don't want to get too much into it, but basically there were Middle Eastern politics happening, and rebellions and uprisings were spreading massively. And they didn't want a similar situation happening in Korea, where they had a really strong base, and they wanted to keep that base because of China and Russia. And so while they say that it was a misrepresentation that caused them to, they don't exactly say they gave the go-ahead, but, it's an excuse that's used. It's also been admitted and said that the US knew that, what South Korea was saying wasn't actually true, but it supported, because the Red Scare was still very much present.
Yes, 1980.
Yeah, so they were like, we kind of know this government. They are brutal and all of that, but it's a devil we know. We don't want this destabilized, so we will just quell the students instead. So that's kind of like a background on, a little bit of US involvement there. Yes.
So the Gwangju Uprising, how do I put it? It paved the way for like the 1988, 89 the democracy that came in. But this is the Titanic that I'm talking about. That, in the show, everything's leading up to May 18th and the days that follow. And it's pretty impressive to see how they recreated this in what I consider painstaking detail.
Yeah.
And they didn't even go as far as they could have with the uprising. And if you see some footage from the uprising, you're like, this is like, it stiffens you, because you're just like, oh my God, they didn't go as far as they could have at all, but they presented it as well as they could have, like, considering you can't put everything you want to on TV in Korea. There are like certain rules and regulations that you have to follow. And the director said, I thought that I had to approach it carefully. In general, I wanted to express the truth without any inaccuracies or distortions. If you watch Youth of May, the incidents aren't portrayed in detail, which I would agree. They're not in detail. It's not gratuitous, but it is to get it gets the point across for sure. He also says there are still people around us who have experiences and thoughts of those incidents. Although they may each have different memories, it's something we can't make up as we please. I approached it carefully. So I think that's pretty... he seemed to have wanted to take as much of a respectful angle on it as possible. And even as a foreign viewer, I sort of understood that while watching. He didn't go full James Cameron with it. If you watch Titanic. But yeah, did you have any thoughts about...
I think he was really smart in keeping the lens of the story entirely focused on this couple and their immediate surroundings. It's like a spotlight following just them around. Like the uprising was happening around them, everything was happening around them. But instead of telling the story of the uprising, he was telling the story of these two people caught, within this situation.
Yeah.
So that is smart. I don't actually think the story ever really veers away from, this central conceit. Like it never becomes like, long montages of like military operation happening or like, rebellions in other parts. That's simply not the focus of the story. The focus of the story is like the vulnerability of like innocent people living their lives, dreaming their dreams, having their hopes, falling in love, and, sort of resisting the petty oppressions of family and social class. And then suddenly having like the tsunami sweeping them off their feet. It's kind of like, it's like the tiny existence of people versus like an inevitable tragedy. It's I thought he was very smart in the way he wrote the story.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't actually know who wrote the story.
No, that was the director that was talking about
right.
kind of how he worked about it.
It was the screenwriter was Kang. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. So there are some other K-dramas that cover this era of the 1980s, and that would be probably like Reply 1988, which also has like one of the girls, the sister of the main character, is a protester in like 1988. And so that's a huge deal, and the family dealing with that and being very fearful of the consequences of her being involved in this like these political rallies and stuff like that. You could also, if you feel so inclined, watch Snowdrop, which is sort of a bastardization of this era as well. We do have a scathing review of Snowdrop on the feed. If you want to scroll back in your podcast feed, I was telling Paroma that we just really ripped into Snowdrop, not because of like the story or the premise or anything about it. It was like the execution and the decisions that they made were just not okay. So we had a really fun time actually watching Snowdrop.
Despite the political problems and discussions around that story, I think the drama would have had a lot more support if it actually told a cohesive story. If the story itself was good.
I'm telling you, we went through it watching Snowdrop and trying to not. I mean, anyway, long story short, scroll back in your podcast feed to listen to that one. It was interesting. So I think we've come to the end of our general thoughts on Youth of May, and at this point, we're going to break for spoilers because it's just time. It's high time that we get into spoilers. So if you care to be spoiled, don't listen on. But if you don't care and you've watched Youth of May before, stick around. We'll be right back after this.
Excuse me, 뭐라고?
괜찮아.
You know, I have no signal. Oh, sorry.
Swear, this crossing shit.
What?
Okay, Paroma, we're on the other side of spoilers, so anything goes. What would you like to talk about first in this spoiler section?
I think. Okay, so there is this there is this thing that happens at the end of the drama that is a tragedy that we've been talking about, like the heartbreak and all of that stuff. And our main couple, Hee-tae and Myung-hee, they don't know that that's coming. They don't know that there's a time limit on their romance, but they actually had a different time limit on their romance. Like Myung-hee had ambitions of going and studying medicine abroad. So when they first met each other, which by the way, we have to talk about how absolutely adorable their first meeting was.
Oh my God, stop.
When they decided that they would date, kind of, finally, it was with the understanding that this is like a limited time. They would be together for a limited time before he left. And this intensity of their relationship was, because if you think about it, it was just a matter of 3 or 4 weeks that they knew each other. The totality of their relationship, of like from the moment he saw her first to the very end. And the repercussions, like the resonance of that lasted for decades afterwards. It's just
oh my God.
Something else. And I loved your comparison to the Titanic because, oh my God, exactly the same. There was an artificial sort of like limit to their relationship because Rose was engaged to this asshat, and and they always knew that their relationship was like not something that could last, but they didn't realize that was not the actual thing. That wasn't it. Yeah. But that also intensified their relationship, as brief as, fleeting, ephemeral as it was. I love that.
Yeah. She's going to go to Germany to study abroad and become a doctor, I believe. And I was like, why does she want to go to Germany in 1980? I was like, oh my God, who wants to do that? But anyway,
I think they explain it at one point because Korean schools wouldn't let you take admission unless you're studying to be a doctor. I think she was going there to be a nurse though, because that one distinction, because she made that distinction. Like Korean medical schools only let you apply if you're studying to be a doctor.
Correct. So, that's right. That's
I
right.
think that's
so she was like, I don't want to be a full-on doctor, but like I want a degree. So she was like, I'll just study abroad. Because the system wasn't set up for her, and essentially.
True.
So he asks her, why don't we stay for the entirety of May? Like, let's just stay until the end of May. And he's adorable when he asks her this. He's like halfway drunk. He's been serenading her on the guitar. And she's like, I'll let you know when you're sober. And that just kind of kicks off the rest of their sort of quick Romeo and Juliet-esque love story. Because yes, they fall in love in the span of like really in a few days, they're in love with each other, like irrevocably in love with each other. It is, they cannot be separated, even though they end up getting really just put through the ringer even before May 18th comes around. They are devoted to each other. So but you believe it. I think this is the great thing that the show did, is that I fully believe in their love story and in their devotion to one another, and that they, sometimes you watch a K-drama and people fall in love and you're like, I don't really get like why these two are together. I don't get like why they sort of gravitated to one another. And like, I don't get it. Like why, I don't believe it. I don't buy in. I bought in completely.
So hot.
I bought stock. I was setting up shop. I was like ready to go. And you mentioned their meet cute. Like their meet cute is so cute. What is it? It's a fake dating trope. It's mistaken identity trope. She goes to
proposal.
Yes, she goes exactly like Business Proposal. She takes her friend's place on this blind date, and he sees her like performing emergency help on this kid that just got run over in the street right near the hotel that they were supposed to meet at. And he's in the middle of a full-on panic attack because he has trauma of his own. And even though he's a doctor, he's like paralyzed and can't do anything. But she jumps into action and she looks fabulous doing it. I'm helping this kid in the street. And he spends like a few minutes waiting for her in the lobby of this, or in this cafe area in this hotel. thinking, I hope I meet to meet that girl again because she was amazing. And lo and behold, she sits down for the first date, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, he's immediately like, oh my God, hey, it's her. So
the build up, like everything. See, the episode ends at just him grinning ear to ear and like just staring at her, being like, jackpot!
it's her.
It's her! I like, how is this miracle? And it's perfect because everything from the music to just the way the camera zooms in on either Hyun's face and just doesn't leave, because man, this guy has such great control over his facial expressions.
Oh my God.
And Govinji's Myung-hee is sitting there very confused about this guy who's just staring at her and grinning so hard.
Oh my God.
It's perfect.
So he immediately attaches himself to her, and everything that she tries to do, very similar to Business Proposal, she's trying to stink the date. And he doesn't care. Like, he knows that she's a good person. He knows that she's faking it and trying to, like, get him to run away from her. And he's not having it. He's like, I'm here to stay. Like, she's like, I want beer instead of tea on the date. And he's like, okay, cool. Like, I'll take some too. Like, every single thing that she does is only enhancing his intrigue about her. So I loved it. I love that she is so sort of precious and a very perfect archetype of what a woman should be in that time period, especially. And even so, she is subverting a lot of things in just her ambition and her trying to be a nurse and her being very decisive in high intensity situations. You know, she's very quick in performing emergency services and just being so available and stuff like that. I just found that really fascinating, that even though she's very feminine, she's always dressing in skirts and dresses and stuff, and she's very soft-spoken, and she just, on top of that, she has goals and ambitions of her own, and she wants to study abroad, and she has a fractured relationship with her dad, and like all this stuff makes her seem like they're trying to like turn the archetype on its head, which is very cool to see.
I think they also did a pretty nice mirroring of, and this is actually pretty typical of K-dramas, but I think they did it particularly well in this one, where the second male lead and the female lead, and on the other side, the second female lead and the male lead, kind of, they usually tend to have the same kind of background, the same kind of personality, all of that. In this particular case, Gom Se-rok's character isn't exactly a second female lead of the typical breed. Like, she has not much interest in the main lead, but like her personality, and at some point it's pointed out that Hite's personality and Soryun, which is the Se-rok's character, their personalities are very similar, that they could be siblings. And I like that. I always like it when they do this juxtaposition of, here is the perfect person for you, possibly. And then you are actually attracted to somebody who's wholly different. And on paper, it shouldn't work, but it works so well.
Yes, I agree completely that, the BFF, I'll call her the BFF, she is sort of built the same way that Hite is, and I agree completely that it was very frustrating in the moment when you're watching, when people surrounding these characters are like, oh, you guys are the same, you guys are perfect for each other and all this stuff, and I'm like, shut up, they're not meant to be. But yeah, absolutely, they are essentially the same person, and it's cool, it's interesting. I like this kind of angst in a K-drama where you're like, okay, the person who's supposed to be with him, who by all rights should be with him, and especially now with like all of these forces pushing them together, they're still like rebelling. You know how like when a kid like is having a tantrum and they like arch their back on the floor and stuff. Like that was literally both of them with this relationship, trying to get out of it and, you know, get to where they want to be. He wants to be with Myung-hee. She wants to be a rebel, you know? She wants to lead the charge on all of these protests and be a revolutionary. And it's very cool to see. I found that the BFF reminded me a lot of oh my god, Mr. Sunshine. What's her name? Oh my god, from 2521. What is her name?
Hold on. Kim Tae-ri?
Kim Tae-ri, thank you. Kim Tae-ri's character in Mr. Sunshine felt a lot like the BFF in this
I agree.
Youth of May. Yeah.
Except that Soryun, okay, so the other thing that I really liked about the writing was how subtle they were about establishing characters. So pretty quickly you get a handle on the kind of person Soryun is. She is very single-minded. She's very stubborn. She's also selfish.
Yes.
There are like definite moments when, and you have Hite calling her out on it. Like practically the first time they actually meet as, you know, they're sitting out in the garden, they're speaking about like the ruse that just got busted. And he pegs her perfectly. He's like, you don't seem the kind of person who actually cares about other people's feelings. And which is you know, completely proved correct. Like the next moment when she's like, no, Myung-hee has no feelings for you. But it actually never even occurred to her to actually inquire if a friend does. So I really liked how they established the characters with examples of action instead of trying to have like, you know, show, don't tell, that whole thing.
Exactly. Yeah, I ended up hating that BFF character, to be quite honest with you, because
I know.
She makes the wrong decision every time. Like every time she's faced with a dilemma, she doesn't do the right thing. She always is self-servicing and selfish, and she considers her own family before other people. And it's not like this is the first time. They establish in the story that she has been caught before putting up what was it, like flyers at their school when they were in high school, and she never gets punished for that. And Myung-hee does, even though it like wasn't her idea. She didn't lead the charge on it. She was just one of a few, and she gets expelled from the school. Like she gets set back. You know, if this was a game, she would move back 10 paces.
Yeah, I know. And the thing is, you don't actually see Isoryun being particularly apologetic to Myung-hee for what happened.
Oh my God, yeah.
And the fact that whole dating ruse that she suggested, it happened because Myung-hee needed money for her airfare to Germany. A friend would have been like, I will get that for you.
I'll get it for you.
Soryun
she was like, why don't you do this for me?
Why don't I buy your lie? It's,
Fucking bitch. I hated her. Like by the end, I was like, thank God that she was the one that imploded their relationship and said like, why don't we just like say fuck it, and you go back to Gwangju and get with Myung-hee, and I'll like do as I please here. And if I want to go back to Gwangju and like kick a fuss against the government, then that's my biz. So that was the only part that I was like, okay, finally, she made the right decision, because she was the one who
tortured them so much.
She tortured them. She's the one who tortured them and like didn't let the lie, didn't tell the truth when she should have. And he warned her. He was like, we can't let this go any further than it already has, because then we can't get out. And she was like too scared, too fearful to do anything about it, and was more content with just leaving things as they are, naively thinking that they weren't going to get out of hand. Things weren't going to get out of hand.
That's the definition of privilege, right? She never actually had to face real consequences. Every time she's done something that's bad enough, her dad's gotten her out of it, and clearly not explained to her what he has had to give up. Like literally every time this man asks for a favor from somebody, that is a favor that's held against him in this political atmosphere. And his daughter is just like, well, I guess my dad's going to do that again next time I get caught doing something rebellious. And that just doesn't allow you to respect her actions as a student protesting against dictatorial government, because what she is doing is still selfish within, the frame of her family, her friends. I mean,
Yeah. I was very upset with her throughout the show because she just seemed so irrefutably selfish. And there was nothing that she could do to redeem. Like, after a certain point, I was like, she's fucked them all. Like, that's because Hite was the one that was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be here. You tell your people to back out because my dad's the devil and he's not going to let me back out. So, like, you do it. Wear the pants and, like, man up. Shut this thing down. And she never did.
yeah.
She never did. So that was very frustrating throughout
Her
the
brother,
show.
on the hand. Her
The
brother.
Do you want to talk about the brother? So Lee Sung-gi's character, again, I felt that he was extremely naive because yes, he was jealous of Hite's relationship with Myung-hee. Yes, he was trying, I'm using air quotes, trying to do what was best for Myung-hee and warn her about Hite because he's got like all of these crazy rumors surrounding him. But at the end of the day, he was very selfish as well. And they're so stupid. Like, the whole family is like, let's just get in league with the devil. And we know he's a bad person. We know that Hite's dad is powerful and manipulative. But he probably won't be manipulative to us because we'll be in-laws. And it's like, no, baby. No.
Yeah.
They were so insulated in their world. And there was no... They thought there would be no consequences for getting in bed with the devil. So, I mean, him, the dad, I was like, the dad... I wrote off the dad when he said, I don't care if people say that I sold off my child. You're going to marry this guy. You have to marry him for the sake of our family business. So I was like, this whole family, just throw them in the trash. Just throw them away. They're terrible. Oh my God.
I will say that there was this one dynamic I absolutely loved, which was Myung-hee's brother and Tae's brother.
Oh
Hite's brother.
my gosh. Yes.
The young ones were like, my God, they were like a relief from all of the
Yes.
family drama that was happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. They were very cute. They had their own arcs as well. You know, they came, Hite's younger brother was very upset and stuff about people calling his mother the mistress, and the kids kind of living their lives and having fun and stuff without him, but he had to go home every day. He couldn't stay in the dorms with all of the other runners. And he was like, I don't want to be home. I want to be here with these kids. Like, I don't want them to think that I'm privileged, basically. Even though he never said that, he was like, I want to be at the dorms. So he goes to live there. And even though him and the little brother, Myung-hee's little brother, got off on the wrong foot, like, he fixed it instantly when he stood up for Myung-hee's little brother. They were making fun of their crippled dad. They were walking around and making fun of him because they're little assholes. And there's a huge stigma back then about people with disabilities, and they were making fun of it. It was like wild. I was shocked. And Hite's little brother like punches out the kids, and like from then on they're okay.
There was a line between them that I really loved, where Hite's little brother went and said, because this was his nemesis who had just done something great for him, who had defended his dad. So, and he was being punished, of course, by the coach. And so he goes, so Myung-soo is the, what's her name? Myung-hee's little brother. So Myung-soo goes to Jang-tae, which is Hite's brother, and is like, didn't you listen to the coach? He said we should never cross the line. And by that, he means like the racetrack lines, where each runner should stick to their own track. And I love the line that Jang-tae says, which is that I don't think you heard what the coach said in entirety. He said for, I think long runners. I don't know what they're called.
Short
it's okay.
distance runners.
Yeah,
Short distance runners don't cross the lines, but we're long distance runners.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's okay.
We should know. We should know when it's okay to cross the line.
Yeah.
I love that. Like such great lines even for the kids.
Yeah.
So yeah. Overall, by the way, great dialogue in this drama. Just
oh
so
my
quotable.
God. Yes. I have a line here from Hite in episode 2. He tells Myung-hee, every time I see you, I feel like catching up on all the smiles I missed in the last few years.
Yeah.
How can you not fall for this man? Oh my God. She had no chance. She stood no chance. Like, of course she was going to fall for this guy. They have this stunning, speaking of them two, they have this stunning scene in episode 2 where he's bandaging her sprained ankle in this like cherry tree grove in front of like this pond or something and it's golden hour. And I was like, this is like K-drama crack. This is a K-drama crack moment, right? Where you're just like, I need it in my veins right now. It's perfect. And I just love their dynamic here and how he's like helping her, but she's like, doesn't want to really deal with it, but it's such a romantic scene and I really can't. It's so great. Speaking of romantic, oh my God, before I forget, episode 4, the turnaround scene where he's like, turn around. Didn't that remind you of the movie, the Dilwale Dulhania?
Yeah, of course.
Oh
that's the one that I was thinking of, but I wasn't sure if you were going to refer an Indian movie.
Oh my God, yes. So when I saw it, I was like, it's that scene with Shaka Khan. Like, oh my God. I was like freaking out because they did it. They copy and pasted it into the show and it works so well. But honestly, you should all see the movie that we just referenced and see that scene in its entirety because it's A++ romance right there.
Sure.
Absolutely. Let me see. Episode 6. This is another second male lead thing where he stages an intervention with Myung-hee and he tells her that, you know, everyone makes mistakes. It's okay. Hite is not a good person. It's not too late to like get away from him and fix it. And that Hite is deceiving her and all this stuff. And she goes, it's a choice I made. I've lived my entire life giving up and yielding because I had no courage. But Hwang Hite is the first choice I made by gathering up the courage. Even if you curse and throw rocks at me, it's a choice I made. So I'll pay the consequences.
Yeah.
Great moment for her. Great moment of growth for her because absolutely she's been yielding her entire life. And you see that she's been such a victim throughout her whole life. And that like leaning into Hite is a giant moment for her and she won't give it up easily. So I thought that was a beautiful moment, even though again, second male lead, Lee Sang-hee being a little fart.
Yeah. And he was such a great second main lead in Hometown Cha Cha Cha. Like the perfect second main lead. All second main leads should be that.
I thought that Myung-hee and Hite ended up having a very healthy relationship, like despite everything, because even though they did make some mistakes and they were withholding information from each other, they ended up developing a better working relationship, which was like Myung-hee said, even though everything is hard and I'm having a bad day and things, I don't regret being with you. And even if we're not, she says, even if we're not always strong and at our best, I would like us to be able to show each other everything. And so they established this like bond and this trust between one another that they end up keeping for the most part through the end of the show.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's particularly poignant because the show shows us in that brief macro season what their relationship could be if it was allowed to bloom. It's you can understand why this is an unforgettable love for both of them. Why it would have to be each other and nobody else. In other cases, you might be like, move on. I mean, maybe a decade later, come on, but move on. But it would be hard to move on from this.
I did want to touch on Myung-hee and her dad and their relationship and how she ends up confronting her dad in episode 7. She got it was this whole thing. Like episode 7 had tons of things happening. Yeah. She got kidnapped by Hite's dad. And
she was put through cartoon villain.
He's a fucking asshole. Yes. So he threatens her and he says, like, you're not going to Germany. There's no way your visa's getting approved because, you know, not only did you upset me by being in a relationship with my son, but your dad's a commie, a sworn commie. And she goes home to their like little hometown and she confronts the dad and she asks, like, is she a commie's daughter? Is that why nothing ever works out for her? Is that why she struggled all her life? Why didn't he tell her? She wouldn't have gotten her hopes up had she known that she had this like black spot on her whole life. So I thought it was very interesting. I thought their relationship was like ostensibly like the second best thing of the show was her complex relationship with her dad and how he was like, I just didn't want you to grow up with that stigma of being a communist daughter. Even though he wasn't a communist, there was like this whole thing where Hite's dad framed him for being a communist 27 years ago and he crippled him. That's how he became a cripple. I mean, honestly, it was very K-drama-y, but at the same time, it was very poignant to see her grapple with this revelation and to see her dad try and fix their relationship and mend their relationship. And like, oh my God, him trying to give her a dignified life and it didn't matter. Like, it didn't matter because she was so nothing ever worked out for her regardless. So I was a mess. Like, I don't know about you, but I was a mess during all those.
Agree. I also thought it was an interesting and also probably really smart choice to make the protagonists unrelated kind of to the protests. Like, these are both people who would fight for justice, who would stand up for people, who are standing up for people. But they are not taking on the larger burden of the uprising. And they don't have political, like, they are not out there fighting for their political beliefs. They are just living their everyday lives and supporting those who are fighting in whatever capacity they can. Because you see Myung-hee helping her friend, you see Hite constantly helping his friends. I mean, that's kind of how he got his trauma. But neither of them are, central.
They're not on the front lines. Yeah.
They're not on the front lines. And this is a story about people who are not on the front lines. And then which allows you to sympathize with Myung-hee when she confronts her father. Because to her, she was just living her life and did not know like how these larger politics were directly affecting her and why it was so easy for people to believe that, she would do something like the thing that had happened in her high school. It was just, I mean, you can understand why she would break down like that. So
and she feels that it's unfair, which it is.
It is. I agree.
It is.
One note.
So
our main evil dad, the guy who is like whom nobody wants in their family, which is a line I absolutely loved.
Yes.
Like prime burn, man. Like to hear that from your son. This guy was also the villain of Crash Landing on You.
Yes, he was, which I found very fitting.
Very similar character in both these dramas. And he did Crash Landing on You just before he did Youth of May.
Yep.
The villain vibe carried it over.
I really thought he was a grand villain because it wasn't just he was evil for evil's sake. There was a huge amount of hubris to him.
Absolutely.
And him wanting control over his family and wanting more power and prestige in this volatile political environment was like, I understood that. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't just like he was evil for evil's sake. Like, not exactly. And him and Hite's relationship was maddening to watch, because in no way, shape, or form is he a father, right? He's a bully. He's constantly intimidating Hite. And, you know, at no way did I believe that that he loved his kids. You know, there was no love in him at all. And yeah, in the later episodes, what is it, like in episode 11 or 12, he's got his son, Hite, tied up in a room in the house, locked away. And he, in order to get Hite back, he had to like ram a vehicle into the ambulance that he was riding, that Hite was in. And so he's all messed up from the accident. He's got all these injuries. He's got head trauma for sure. And he still has him tied up. No medical assistance has been given to his son. And he has this conversation where Hite is lying prostrate on the floor, tied up, and he's standing above him. And I'm like, is that not the perfect representation of their relationship, where he's constantly stepping on his son and keeping him tied down, keeping him, you know, where he wants him and controlled. And I love how Hite just takes the opportunity. He ungags him and he just starts talking. And Hite is trying his best to use words against his dad. And one of the final things that he says is, well, the dad compares him to an orphan. You're an orphan and, you know, you're basically at my mercy. And he says, I'm not the orphan, you are, because no one would ever choose you to be their family.
Yeah.
And that cuts him. It's amazing. Yeah. And it comes back around.
Go finish, then I have something.
Okay, perfect. So anyway, it comes back around because the young son, it goes to save Myung-hee from an assassination, because the dad orders an assassination of Myung-hee in episode 12, and he thinks back. The dad ends up thinking back to this moment where he says, you know, you're the orphan. No one would want you as your family, because the family's like, get off of me. Like, they're all like shaking him off whenever he tries to touch them, and they abandon him. They leave without him. And it's such a moment. So I really like that it comes back around and he realizes that he's right, that Hite was right about him. Absolutely. Okay. What did you have? You got really excited. What did you want to talk about?
I just remembered that I had watched Beautiful World, I think in January this year. Again, after, like, I should just take all of Saya's recommendations seriously. I don't know why I keep dealing watching anything she recommends, because I always end up loving them. She's been trying to get me to watch Beautiful World for like 3 years now. And I watched it. And Oh Man-suk was exactly the same kind of father in that drama too. His son was like a teenager, like a 14-year-old teenager. But yeah, the guy was he may have been stereotyped a little bit in the casting choices, but
he's definitely typecast.
Yeah, he plays this type so well. My God, it's like it's nuanced devilry. It just, he's so horrible, but you can kind of see how his gears function, like how they move. So yeah.
I agree. It is nuanced devilry for sure. So I have a few more things to talk about really fast, so I'll go through them fast. But in episode 7, like, so much stuff happens in episode 7. But in episode 7, Hite is waiting for Myung-hee at the station because they had this like full on like breakup on the bridge after she's been kidnapped, and she's been awake for like 24 hours or something like that. She's got a concussion for sure because they hit her on the head. She's a mess. She looks sick, ill. And he's waiting for her at the station after this blow-off fight that she had with her dad. She walks past him at the station and he follows her, calling out to her. She walks into the middle of a protest and he's stuck on the sidewalk, can't get to her. And I was like, this is very symbolic of how the politics just got in the way. Like the times just got in the way of their relationship. It was the right relationship at the wrong time. Yeah. And they couldn't overcome this wave of tyranny. And she's riding dangerously close to the protesters. And he's scared to jump into the fray. And when he finally catches up to her, they have their conversation finally in an alley. And it's a dead end. And I was like, oh my God, this is like mimicking their relationship, that there's just no road ahead. They're at a dead end. And it's just, I thought it was very well done as far as staging goes. And it was a beautiful, beautiful whole like sequence of them talking. And of course, it's very emotional. And, you know, she's like, she says, I'm scared of you. And he takes that to heart because he's like, I don't want her to be afraid of me. Like, you know, so it's crazy. I'm trying to think of my notes. So episode 8, do you think that, because they get back together, and he goes home with her and they make out in her little room that she has in the boarding house. And they wake up the next day in the same bed, but they're fully clothed. Did you think that they had sex? Because I assumed that they had sex.
Listen, if they wake up in the same bed, and nobody mentions anything, I assume they've had sex.
Because they didn't say anything. They were, you know.
If they did say something, if one of them was like, "Did we last?" For sure, they haven't had sex. For sure,
what?
It's a fake out.
What?
They only ever seem to mention it when the punchline is that the other person is like, I mean, I wish, but no.
I assume that they had sex, but you're like, if they, you know, they did not.
I think so too. I agree. No, I agree.
Okay.
But they didn't mention it, so it's.
They didn't.
Yeah. So I'm going with they did. They had it.
So I think one of the only issues that I had with the show was the person that got Hee-tae to Gwangju was this friend, a friend of a friend, basically, that he had saved, and she was in the ICU. And basically the outlook was really bad for her. She was in a vegetative state, and he wanted to transfer her to Gwangju, and that's how he ends up in Gwangju and the whole thing. That person, this sort of comrade that he feels incredibly responsible for, this person, like, you don't really know anything about this labor union leader, except that she was brave, you know? And I found her to be more of a device, right, than, you know, anything more. She seemed so much like a device, especially later on when the BFF goes to the hospital with Hee-tae in Seoul to visit her on the eve of them transferring her to Gwangju. And she ends up saying like, oh, she protested and stood up for what she believed in, even though it was hard, even though she was definitely scared. And it kind of jolts her into action again. And she's like, why am I like just living my life so passively and letting everything happen to me? I should do what she did. Even though I'm scared, I need to like stand up for what I believe in. And the very next day she like cuts Hee-tae loose and she's like, go back to Gwangju and like, we'll just deal with it, you know? So again, I just felt like she was just a catalyst for these characters instead of something more, you know?
Yeah,
and we never find out what happens to her. We never find out if she wakes up or if she dies or something. It's just, you know.
She wasn't particularly important as a person. She was important as connections between people, between Hee-tae and his soldier friend, like his communist friend who got drafted into the army he hated. And my God, what a tragic turn that was.
Oh my God. So let me see if there's anything else. Oh my God. Yeah. One last thing. Episode 11, and then we'll talk about the Endgame episode. So episode 11, there's this friend who had been tortured for days before even May 18th came around. They had like kidnapped him and were torturing him for information. And now he's finally facing off against the Devil Dad. I just call him the Devil Dad in my notes. But the friend thinks back to a conversation he had with Hee-tae where he asked him, if I get caught, would mentioning your name get me out? And Hite assures him that mentioning his name to his dad or anyone else would get him killed. So we cut back to the present, and he's like face to face with the devil dad, and he just starts laughing because inadvertently Hite has given him a cyanide pill.
Yeah.
And he uses it in that moment. He causes a fuss over begging the devil dad to spare him and dropping Hite's name. And he gets bludgeoned to death by the devil dad. And I found this so powerful and I don't know what, just amazing in a sense, because you don't expect such a ludicrous, unhinged ending for this guy, and for it to be so meaningful in a sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you felt any type of way about that scene, but I was like,
did.
oh my God.
Because I kept expecting, I honestly didn't expect him to like get out or anything like that. Because he was clearly like, even though the PD and the writer were not focusing on the larger uprising, they had chosen people around our protagonists who were suffering in different ways. And like, this character was clearly, sort of a symbol of like the suffering a lot of protesters were going through, the ones who were already in jail. And of course, this entire thing may have peaked in May, but it had been happening for years at that point.
Simmering.
So students were being picked up randomly. The smallest accusation could get you behind bars. So and it kept on happening even after that for years. It's not like it peaked and ended.
Yeah.
So I kind of assumed this character would probably end up dying.
Yeah.
But I thought that they were building up to, I don't know, something momentous. Like he gives away something big or something like that. I was not expecting him to like basically, like you said, do what he did, which is like put an end to his own misery and also ensure that he can't like betray his friends. It was really poignant. And to use your abusers, your assailants' weakness against him like that.
Yes.
That was splendid. Tragic, but splendid.
Tragic. Yeah. Episode 11, and we're going to talk about endgame episodes. So Myung-hee's dad and the younger brother Myung-soo try to make it back on foot to Naju. And they get lost in the dark, and the soldiers find them. And the dad leaves to try and talk to the soldiers. And I was like, he's dead. He's going to die. And last episode, we find out that he does. They murder him in cold blood. And oh my God, this was terrible because she never sort of reconciles with him in a way. He, to the bitter end, was trying to support her in the only way he knew how. And he had saved every bit of money that he had made and saved all of the money that she sent back home. And he put it in a savings account and he was like, this is for you. And to get your life started. And it was initially for her Germany school tuition. And I was like, oh my God, like that imploded. And, he left a letter for her. It was very much like it's incomplete, an incomplete relationship. And I was devastated. I was so devastated. Lee Sang-gi's character ends up finally becoming a rebel, and he starts helping his sister after he was taken. And he was tortured and was in this room. Like, God knows what happened to these people that were arrested. And so he has this like come to Jesus moment in the final episode because his naivety is like torn to pieces in this moment, right? Where he finally realizes like what she's been fighting for or against. And I guess the final thing is that, the little brother Myung-soo, what does he do? He like goes off back to Naju to try and find the grandmother and his mom, and tell them what happened to the dad so that they could have like the final send off of the father.
Yeah.
And he initiates this terrible no good, awful ending for our couple, which is Myung-gi dies. Like, she straight up gets murdered in the woods. She blocked a bullet that was meant for her brother, and he gets away, and that's it. Like, she dies, and it's so undignified and rude, and just the way that they like left her in a ditch. They didn't even bury her. They just like left her. They were initially like, remove all forms of identification off of her so that no one can identify the body later. And thankfully, that one friend who we had been following in and out of his military service took pity and left the identification. Basically, he left the watch that the kid dropped, the brother dropped, and he left the wedding prayer on her. And that's how they could identify her later. I gotta tell you, like, when they cut to the present, because they flash forwarded at the beginning of episode 12, and that's how you figure, you know, who lives. And Myung-gi's not among like the present day people. And I was like, oh my God. You see Hite working as a professor in the hospital, and when they finally tell him that they found her body, Myung-gi's body. I mean, I lost it. I was sobbing over Hite reading her wedding prayer in 2021, 41 years later.
Yeah.
Talk to me. Like, what did you think about this, like, ending and all of this reveal and stuff? Ugh.
So, you'll probably be deeply disappointed in me because I knew that the ending was going to end up, with her dead. I wanted to get that over with as quickly as possible. So I think I was around the episode 3-ish mark when
You didn't.
Yeah, I did.
No, you didn't.
I have always done this in fiction whenever I knew that there was going to be a tragic ending.
You read the last page of the book?
I read the last page of the book. I honestly think I could get through the entire thing because I read it. Because my anxiety is no joke. I was telling you about my dog's anxiety before, but my anxiety trumps his. And I can't. Like, I keep... I kept stalling. Like, you told me about this more than a month back, right? And I was stalling till like 2 weeks back. I had watched the first 2 episodes and I was like, I can't. They're so cute. I can't watch this. So I just like went ahead and watched. But it didn't diminish the impact for me. When I finally got to that episode again, I of course watched the whole way through. And so you have these quotes from the director here.
Yeah.
And at one point he talks about how she had to die because that was basically the frame. It was that the story is memorable because she died. And he's not wrong.
I don't think he's wrong either.
After all of that, if both of them had completely, wholly emerged from that, and if somebody else had died in the background, would not have had the same impact. The reason this is like so golden in the audience's memory as well as in Hite's memory is because it's kind of like contained in that a single month, pretty much, mostly in May. And, part of me, when I was watching the final episode, I thought, hey, this is, they cast a great actor. They cast Chae Won-young, which, by the way, it's the actors who get to play the older versions of Do-Hyun. It's such good choices. I mean, they always cast, at least till now, they've cast like actors who can really smile with their whole being, and Chae Won-young can. So good. I thought this was a story about a man who's had this tragic thing happen to him, but he has emerged from it, like he has healed. But the drama is not. The drama is like, no sirree. For 41 years, this man has been suffering. And we will tell you in detail how.
Yeah. They made a point of kind of saying how he's been stuck in 1980 for 41 years.
Oh.
And her wedding prayer was something like, I hope that we can, even if we are out and swimming and swimming in the waves of life and stuff, I hope that we don't drown if we don't end up, holding each other's hands forever, which was his prayer, was that we never let go of each other. And I mean, honestly, he says that he's tried to kill himself. He's been suicidal in the past 41 years, and how he just wants to end his suffering, and that he has been drowning. Yeah. Like she didn't want him to for all this time. And he's decided to just keep living, in homage to her, because she wanted him to.
Yeah. It's a
and
suffering
it's very
of the
powerful.
One left behind.
Yes. And previously, he made the point of saying, if you die, I will have nothing. You are all I have. I have no other family. I have no other friends. You are it. So I would rather die. Like if something were to happen, I would rather be the one to suffer. And she said, don't say that. I'll be your family. And they get married and they have this whole thing. And even in the end episode where he's like, the road diverges. There's two roads. It splits. I'll go down the more dangerous road. And you go down this road where there's no soldiers parked at the end of it or whatever. And she does. And she still, even though it was the easier road, she still died.
Yeah.
Like he tried so hard.
Yeah.
And it still didn't work. She still suffered and died. And it was his worst nightmare because that was all he had. So it was very affecting, for me to see him in the present day and to see him still using humor as a crutch, as a, defense mechanism. And he still has this very light personality, but he's still suffering on the inside. And oh my God, I mean, it was very well done. And the director says after Myung-yi died, the drama shows the stories of the remaining people. The drama is trying to say that numerous people are living while carrying their own burdens. And it's 100% the case. He nailed it, right? If that's what he was going for, he nailed it.
True.
And her death does make the drama more meaningful. Absolutely. And it's I know I brought up Titanic earlier, but it's the same thing with Jack dying at the end of Titanic. That makes the story even more meaningful. Yeah. Had he lived, you probably wouldn't feel as strongly about this story. So it is tragic, and I do feel like it was always supposed to happen. I think some people get upset when they don't get happy endings, especially in K-dramas. And I can understand it when it's not warranted and the story doesn't really call for it. And it kind of comes out of left field, and it just feels like they're trying to pull a fast one on you, right? It feels like they're not taking the audience into consideration. But I feel like the director was not only am I taking the audience into consideration, I'm taking the weight of history into consideration. And these characters that we've crafted here deserve a little bit more meaning after the fact. And of course they deserve better. Of course they deserve to have a happy ending. But that's what makes this so heartbreaking, right? Is that they couldn't escape history. They couldn't escape this fate. And I don't know, it just does something to me. And I do feel like a lot of stories that have unhappy endings in K-drama, they're warranted, right? I personally feel like the 25-21 ending was warranted, right? They didn't end up together. I love the ending.
Yeah. And honestly, that was not the main romance of 25.
Yeah. Well,
it was always Go Yurim and Kim Tae's character.
Yeah. Precisely.
Naido.
Naido. So I feel the same way about this ending, where it was absolutely a given,
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing about the show, is that she dies. They don't end up together. It's so sad.
It's really sad, but one of the things that makes it the most poignant and not something that makes you feel like, the rug's being pulled from under you and like you're being cheated of a good ending, is because they built up their story as something that was, or kind of like that. Like I said, they put a time limit on it pretty early. It also felt the speed of it, the quickness of the progression of their relationship also lent this urgency to the narrative, so that it felt like it was happening too quickly. It was burning too bright. And there was almost like you expected that fall to happen, especially given the vulnerability of that time. But it was also a joy to watch the relationship develop. The thing that K-dramas do, where they explore the saddest of topics, but they always infuse certain lived moments with so much joy.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that ever lets me watch stories like these. Like,
Right.
I can't take full on sadness. I can't take sadness from the first moment to the very end. I have never been able to watch any movie, any TV show from anywhere in the world that is just that. And I take nothing from it. Like stories where it starts serious and it progressively just gets worse. I don't get any sucker from it. I don't get any moral lessons from it. I get no satisfaction from it. I get no emotional education from it. So, but stories told like this, they leave an impact.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree completely. I don't know if you had anything else to add. I've come to the end of my notes. We're good. Okay. I guess the one stray observation is that the sets for the 1980s set that they had, this small town, even the frickin' record store and the cafe that they go to, it seems like it is identical to the one in Snowdrop. I think they just used the same set. Yeah, I really do.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And both boys even construct like a matchstick tower at some point in the waiting for, their girl to arrive in the cafe.
I've seen that video from Snowdrop.
Yes. So I'm like, oh my God, it's identical. So anyway, that's pretty much it. We're going to get out of here. Thank you so much for coming on this show and talking at length about Youth of May, Paroma. I hope that we can do this again. And where can we find you? Or Dramas Over Flowers? Where can we find
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. You can find Dramas Over Flowers on Twitter at Dramas Overflow. On Instagram, we are Dramas Over Flowers _. And you can find me, Paroma, mostly on Twitter, because that's where I hang out the most, at The Drama Notes.
Nice. Thank you so much. I'm Jessica, and this has been the Daebak K-Rambles Podcast.